right, and we are back with another episode, and joining me today, the one, the only Liz. How's it going?
It's going so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Great having you. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, it's my honor. And I mean, I didn't have to leave my house, so.
Yeah, that makes it easy for all of us, I guess, right? All right, for starters, for some people who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm Liz, as you said already, and I'm a pop country singer-songwriter who grew up on a farm north of Calgary. So kind of the Olds area. I love it here. We like have animals and I get to be outside and write songs and be all happy in nature. Um, but yeah, I just play a bunch of music, typically in central Alberta, Calgary. I love playing live. I've been releasing some songs lately and writing a bunch. Last year, I released two singles, Summertime and Different Shoulders. And this year, I've just released my new single, I Really Like You. Almost forgot what it was called there, but yeah.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit more about how music kind of came into your life. Did you grow up on it, or is it just something you fell in love with?
I think it's always been part of my life. My parents really love telling the story to people. It's kind of embarrassing, but they're always like, Liz was singing since she could talk. Like, she's always been singing before she could even talk. And so I think it's just always been a thing for me. I know when I was a kid, I just liked to hum little things to myself. And I always loved watching musicals on TV and like all those like Disney shows when I was like 8 that had, you know, Hannah Montana and stuff. That was always fun. And like on the farm, we always had these old trucks that had like AM radio. And so there was like this old country station in Calgary. I think it was like AM 1060. And so they always played like oldies, and my dad was always listening to that. So it was just kind of like music everywhere, even though my parents weren't really musicians or anything.
Right, fair enough. Okay. And um I know you said you're pop country, but how else would you describe your sound to someone who's may have never heard your music before?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a Taylor Swift meets Fleetwood Mac meets Casey Musgraves with like a splash of like JP Sax.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. And who are some of your influences that you look up to?
Uh, all of those four artists. I love JP Sax. I think he has such a cool way of storytelling. Um, Obviously, Taylor Swift is like the queen of everything in my book, and a lot of people's books. I've really been influenced a lot by Coldplay and stuff like that. I really love like music that is kind of like a feeling, which I feel like Coldplay, when you hear it, it's like, oh, I kind of want to cry now a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and just yeah, John Denver. When I was a kid, I was a big John Denver fan. Same with Shania Twain. I think I love how she's just like a woman and she writes these cool songs that are like badass and catchy and lovely. So that was a big one too.
Awesome. Yeah, Coldplay is one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie, I think Coldplay has probably been one of my favorite concerts.
Ooh, oh man, I haven't seen them and I really want to.
It's just high energy throughout the whole thing. And then obviously like the colors and everything, like they just it's good.
Yeah, that's that's yeah. I think they're one of my ride or dies for sure.
For
So.
sure, yeah. Would you say who would you say influences you more when it comes to songwriting? Is there a specific person?
Um, a lot of my favorite artists are songwriters too, so I feel like that is probably part of why they're my favorite artists. I love I love songs that are just like kind of saying it how it is,
Yeah.
but like in like a fun way or a clever way, which I think JP Sachs does a lot. Um I listen to a lot of like Carole King when I was getting into writing songs, and I just love how so many of the songs she's written are just like iconic songs. Like, you can listen to Carole King Tapestry and be like, "Oh yeah, this is great." But like I wasn't too familiar with them before I started getting into it, but then you go like look at her discography and you see like all of these hit songs that she wrote in, what was it, like the 60s, 70s, I don't know. And it's like, wow, I didn't know that was Carole King. So I don't know, people like her, people like the Beatles, obviously, Kings. Yeah, just your standard
Okay. And
songwriters.
what about when you're performing music? Is there someone that influences you with just that?
Um, I mean, I don't know. Like,
A mixture, eh? Like,
yeah, they're kind of all a mixture because I think the big thing for me was songwriting first. And like I was in musical theater as a kid and I did that kind of thing, but I think any artist that like puts the song first. Not, I mean, I love a big production too, but like for me, I play solo a bunch. So like it's me and my acoustic guitar. So like the artists that are them and their acoustic guitar and that are like singer-songwriter sort of troubadour type people, I think those are the ones. Which is sometimes it's Taylor Swift, sometimes it's Ed Sheeran. Like, yeah,
just a mixture. That's fair. It's a
yeah.
fair answer.
It's a hard question.
Yeah, I know. I had someone say it to me one time. I think I asked them an influence, and they're like, it's two. One's for songwriting and one's for performing. And I'm kind of like, interesting. I was like,
Okay.
I'm curious if others have the same thing.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
it's kind of like, someone who writes great songs, that's who they look up to for songwriting. And then someone who's like an amazing performer live, that's who they look up to. So
yeah, I think I'm like a mix. I sit in the middle. I love artists that are good performers and good songwriters. So,
it's totally understandable. I totally get that.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your single, I Really Like You.
Yay.
Tell us how that came. Tell us about the single and how it all came together.
Definitely. I wrote it about a year and a half ago. I remember it really well. It was, I hate that we always have to come back to this, but it was at the beginning of the pandemic. And I'd just been like, all my shows had gotten canceled and I was just a wreck and I was so sad. So I was like, well, I guess I'll write songs like every other artist that
Yep.
I've ever talked to. And so I started writing songs, and I think the third day in, I had this idea for this song because I was also like being dumb and I had this really dumb crush on someone and I was like, channel that into the song. And so I had like this little hook. I'm like, ooh, and maybe I do, maybe I really like you, except, sung better. But yeah, I had those lyrics and I'm like, that's either terrible or amazing. And then I kind of like came up with like the second half that was kind of like an answer to that. It was like, ooh, and maybe you like me too. And I'm like, I think that's amazing. So we're going to roll with it. So I wrote the song in like that evening. And a couple months later, I brought it to my producer in Calgary, Mark Troyer at Evergreen Sound. And I'm like, hey, this is the song. What do you think? Like, it's a canvas, make it pretty. And so he sent me this like really cool, like 80s synthy, vintagey vibed little track,
Okay.
and I was like, yes, this is happening. And it's funny because it's not really country at all. But I think the song just kind of dictated the production, and Mark was so good at just like hearing that and putting it together, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. So
Awesome. Great. And available on all platforms, obviously.
yes, it's on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever you stream your music or buy your music.
There. Perfect. And you do a lot of co-writing.
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about co-writing?
Um, I think my favorite thing about co-writing, it was kind of a rocky fit start for me because I was always scared to co-write because it's like a vulnerable situation to get into. But I think my favorite thing is coming into a write with this song and like this idea that I have, and I already have like an expectation for it. And I'm like, I think it should go this way. It'll be fine. And then you show it to your co-writer and they're like, ooh, I hear this. And then you're sitting here with your mind blown because you never would have thought of that. And it's just like the coolest idea ever. So I think that's my favorite part, just the collaboration and how someone else's brain hears something that you've heard like 50 times
Yeah.
and has this completely new, brilliant spark of an idea. And I love that.
Okay. And where do you find you get most of your inspiration from when writing?
Um, I think just a lot of times other music, like just not like the actual songs, but like someone will have like a neat take on like a word and I'll be like, that's so cool. So if I listen to a lot of different music, I'm just like more prone to have like melodic ideas and to be like going about my day and like instead of like thinking things to myself, I'm like humming things to myself and then I'm like, oh, that could be a song and like, put it in your phone. So I think music's big. Movies sometimes, it depends on the movie. Like I like to watch a lot of Lord of the Rings type movies, which make you feel things, but they don't necessarily spark like fun little pop songs. Um, but like I read a lot of books. I think books are a big one. And like when the world is open and you can go out and experience life, I think life in general is like the biggest inspiration, but that was kind of not much of a thing for a year and a half. So
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. And what is the weirdest, most awkward way you've ever come up with a song? You ever had a moment where even if you're writing with somebody or you're out doing something and something strange happens or it's something funny and you're kind of like, that's it. That could be a song.
Oh, that's such a good question. I don't think I have anything too exciting. Not really like a co-written song or like in a write. I think usually like the weird things are just me when I'm sitting there alone quietly and like I'm writing this song called Baseball Game in Hollywood. And I don't know why I decided Baseball Game in Hollywood is a song title, but I did. And so I thought that was funny. I don't think anyone else would. It isn't really a funny story, but it's just like the random titles or the random lines
Yeah.
that I find amusing because it's like, where did that come from? I have
Right.
no idea.
Yeah. But you turn it into something. So,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Cool. Okay. So you have a cool lyric video coming for the song soon. Made by
Yes.
your designer.
Not Your Designer. Yes. We I was planning the release during the lockdown when things were kind of iffy, and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, do I want to do photos? What should we do? So I reached out to Not Your Designer, and she's like, we could like focus more on like the design aspect. And so I'm like, yes, let's do that. So she did like the artwork for the album cover and like Instagram stuff, and she also made this really cool lyric video where she like hand drew all the letters and like did this like adorable little, it looks like an MSN like pop-up chat thing and it's so cute and I can't wait to share it. So
When can we expect this?
uh pretty soon, like
Yeah.
yeah, end of July, beginning of August. It'll be here
It should be
right
out
away.
by the time this is out. I'm thinking
Yeah,
that's perfect.
yeah, definitely.
So check it out. Check it out.
Yes, yes, it'll be on my YouTube channel and wherever. So
Perfect. Do you have plans for a music video for it? You kind of just gonna stick with the lyric video.
I think I'll probably stick with the lyric video. I'd like to do like an acoustic video maybe. Just strip it down and sort of take it back to like my bedroom where I wrote it. Um, so I think that'll probably be it, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yep. Okay, perfect. All right. Tell me what has been the best advice you've been given in your career so far.
Oh man, that's hard.
It's probably saying,
Oh, you're just over there asking the easy questions. I've been really okay. That's annoying. I've been really lucky because I think a lot of the people who I've come across in this business have been very, very kind and supportive and willing to share their good advice.
yeah.
Um, like for songwriting, a piece of advice is like just write, just write a million songs because, you know, when you're just getting started, you know, you might be okay, but there's so much room to get better and you're always going to get better. And I think that's huge. And I think just that sentiment in general, a lot of people have told me you just have to keep going and you just have to put your nose to the grindstone and there's going to be no's and you know it's going to be an emotional roller coaster because you're an artist.
Sure.
But because you just have to keep going and learning and being a good person or trying to be a nice person and just you know
Yeah, just keep
keep
going.
going.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of artists say the same thing.
Yeah,
Patience is the big one. I keep saying because that was the biggest advice I've been given.
yeah,
And
I think that's so true too.
yeah, just kind of like nothing happens overnight in this business. If
Hmm.
it does, I mean, well, wow, you're lucky kind of thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's not it's not easy. So yeah, just keep going and things will happen. That's I've just been noticing that myself or even watching other artists just kind of as they go. So
yeah,
yeah, just
yeah,
keep going.
definitely. Other people's journeys, you can learn a lot from that and from watching them never give up kind of thing. So
Yep, absolutely. Perfect. All right. Do we have any shows lined up people can look forward to?
yes, I'm not sure when this is coming out, but I do have a couple things happening. In Calgary, I'm playing like downtown Stephen Avenue on August 7th, and I'm playing in Drumheller on their summer stage on August 6th. And I have to look at my calendar because I can't remember beyond an hour in the future. But I'm playing with Kevin Kay and his band in Strathmore on August 21st. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I need to confirm and get up on my website and stuff. But yeah, I'll be sharing them as they get announced. So
Awesome. Love it. And okay, so that's some shows, the release of the single. What's next for you?
I just went in to start. We cut vocals for my single in the new year, so there'll be a single in the new year, and I'm really excited for that one. It's like it's a little more like stripped back than my other songs, and it's kind of about growing up. So I'm excited.
Okay, perfect. And last thing, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Liz Music Official, Facebook Liz Music Official. My website is lizmusicofficial.com, and that'll link you to like all the other places. Spotify, Liz, Apple Music, Liz. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys, go grab her newest single. I really like you. And Liz, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on and for just creating this platform for people to.
Absolutely. I love the industry. I love the music. And any way I can kind of help people get their music out there more, I'm
Yeah.
in. So,
Yeah.
no,
Well,
I
you do it so well too. So thank you.
appreciate that. I mean, I love connecting with everybody as well. It's great. I've met so many great people doing this. So it's,
Hmm.
and some I would even call best friends at this point.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah,
100%.
it's great. So no, I appreciate you and keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, let's keep in touch.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure we'll come across each other at some point here because I keep coming down your way. Like I'm coming more this month, so
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll cross paths at some point.
we better.
Better, I agree. Okay, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right, talk to you soon.
Yeah.